Surrey, BC, often considered one of the fastest growing cities in the Lower Mainland, was a hot market during the pandemic. Experienced and amateur investors alike flocked to buy pre-sales, condos, and all other types of real estate, riding the waves of rapidly increasing home prices. In March 2022, Surrey condos peaked at $583,000 and detached homes soared to $1.878 million. It seemed like there was no ceiling to the rising market, and home flipping became a very popular investment strategy. But by today, Surrey condos have dropped to $539,000, a 7.6% decline from their peak, and detached homes have fallen to $1.628 million, representing a 13.3% drop. The market has since remained flat since about 2023, with very little movement since the spring of that year, leaving many investors caught in a pretty dangerous game. This all left me thinking, is the era of flipping coming to an end? And is the sting of the last few years a nasty lesson for those who treated real estate like a no-fail investment? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into in today's video. During the peak of the market, flipping homes in Surrey seemed like the perfect opportunity. With low interest rates, strong demand, and rising prices, investors saw the potential for quick and substantial profits. The strategy was simple: buy a home, hold it, potentially renovate it, and sell it for as much as you can, much more ideally than the purchase price, before you had to actually complete on it and buy it. Many new investors joined in, thinking that they could make a quick profit without realizing the full scope of what they were getting into. However, even at the height of the market, some investors hesitated. There were rising construction and labor costs, concerns over interest rates being at emergency levels and potentially increasing from the pandemic lows, and the unpredictability of how long the hot real estate market would actually last. But many ignore these red flags, diving into the game of flipping homes with high expectations. Experienced real estate professionals and market analysis warned that flipping wasn't just as simple as it seemed. Real estate is not a liquid asset. It takes time to sell and comes with a hefty transaction cost. Real estate agents and legal experts often caution new investors, explaining that the cost of renovations, holding a property, and market downturns could easily eat into any profits. And it wasn't just market forces that were at play. There are other costs to consider, like taxes, a new federal flipping tax, real estate fees, and assignment fees charged by the developer, all of which could wipe out a significant portion of profits if there was any to be had at all. Despite these warnings, many pressed on. Investors, some with no prior experience at all, bought properties at high prices and put down big deposits. Many times, these novice investors would purchase properties they never even had a chance of qualifying for in the first place because they couldn't afford the mortgage in the first place. And this is even at the pandemic level interest rates. They were hoping to sell a property before the project completed. They were enticed by the allure of quickly turning over a property, convinced that the market would keep climbing in value. But things didn't go according to plan. By early 2023, interest rates had risen dramatically, and Surrey's real estate market had cooled. For a little bit of perspective, the average condos that once sold for $583,000 at the market peak just 30 months later are now $539,000, while detached homes fell from 1.878 to 1.628 in today's current market. That's a significant decline that hit investors hard, especially those who bought at the peak, relying on simply appreciation to justify their high purchase price and any renovation costs that they may have incurred. On top of all this, for many of the self-directed investors that had no sound advice at the time, the costs associated with flipping that property went completely unaccounted for as part of the original decision, and those costs started to pile up. Many overlooked the significant expenses of the federal flipping rules, where profits are taxed as a business income if the home is just simply sold too quickly. Or what about real estate fees or the developer assignment fees mentioned earlier? And even worse, for those that are yet to complete on their properties, a new Made in BC flipping tax is set to take hold on January 1st of 2025. As the market flattened, some flippers found themselves completely stuck. Properties went unsold, renovation costs spiraled out of control, and interest rates completely shot up. Suddenly, the dream of a quick, profitable flip was really out of reach. Projects went unfinished, and investors were forced to either rent out their properties for minimal returns or sell them at a significant loss. Plus, even if they could complete and get approved for a mortgage, well, they likely did not account for the GST and the property transfer tax all due at completion. On a $600,000 sale, as an example, the GST, if applicable, like on a new pre-sale construction condominium, would be 5% or $30,000, while the property transfer tax would be calculated at 1% on the first $200,000 and 2% on the remainder, totaling $10,000. These costs can quickly add up and eat into any potential profits. Even worse yet, some investors found themselves in a worst case scenario. This was a position where they could not qualify for a mortgage on the home that they committed to. These homes were often sold at a loss, leaving the original flippers with nothing to show for their efforts, and in some cases, even owing money after the sale, or they ended up giving their entire deposit amounts to the developers as damages, losing tens of thousands of dollars in the process. The reward for those who preserved was not the windfall that they necessarily had originally envisioned. Many barely broke even after paying taxes and fees, and a lucky few with some experience may have managed to survive by either refinancing or drawing equity from other investments to help complete on these properties. But for the most, the profit margins, if any, were razor thin. As the Surrey real estate market stabilizes and we enter a time where we assume that interest rates will continue to drop, those who survived this ordeal know that flipping homes isn't the fast, easy way to riches that many believe. The market has changed. The rules have changed and the game has changed. Investors need to be much more cautious, plan for all possible expenses, and be prepared to hold properties longer than they probably originally anticipated. So the days of easy flipping are behind us. Today, flipping a home in Surrey requires meticulous planning, financial stability, and a deep understanding of the market. Investors need contingency plans, backup funding, and a realistic outlook on the potential challenges. No longer can you rely on rising property values to cover mistakes or unexpected costs. For anyone considering flipping homes in Surrey or anywhere in British Columbia for that matter, the message here is clear. Do your research, plan for every possible cost, and understand the risks. The market has changed, and success now depends on patience, knowledge, and experience. And if you're someone watching this who thinks that renting out your property may be the solution to all of these problems I've described in this video, you're going to want to watch the video coming up next to learn more about how being a landlord anywhere in British Columbia may be an even worse idea than trying to flip a property. Stay tuned because that video is coming up next. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe to this channel, and we'll definitely look forward to seeing you on the next video. Cheers.